Anxiety, it is on the rise. The studies are coming out and showing that more and more people today are facing higher and higher levels of anxiety in this fast-paced world. And although it is understandable that we're going through that, we don't want to have to live with anxiety, right? So go ahead and watch this video, because I've got 5 tips for dealing with anxiety. Hello friends, welcome to Thank You Universe. Thank you for tuning in. If you're feeling anxious right now, just go ahead and do something with me. Just take a deep breath and breathe out. And in and out. So a lot of us deal with a lot of anxiety in today's world. It's very fast paced. We have such a high demand for output and productivity, and we're focusing on a million things at once, and it can be so overwhelming, right? Well, in this video we're going to talk about 5 tips for dealing with anxiety. Now, fun fact, I don't think I've mentioned this in any of my videos before, but I do work in a mental hospital, and I've had the opportunity to be right there to help people deal with their anxiety. In addition to that, I've dealt with a lot of anxiety myself, and I've had to do a lot of the emotional work to figure out what ways work best for me. So let's get into the tips. Tip number 1, focus on one thing at a time. If you're recording a video, don't get distracted by that bee hovering around your camera. But you want to focus on one thing at a time, because a lot of times we get overwhelmed by our anxiety and we think we have to do everything at once, and there's so many things we need to take care of, and maybe we're trying to take care of ourselves and other people at the same time. A lot of caregivers deal with this. A lot of teachers deal with this. Students deal with this. Like, oh my gosh, you have all these assignments. I've got my essays in this class. I've got my speech in that class. And if you focus on all of it at once, it's going to be overwhelming, because anxiety is a high level of stress. It just gets to the point where it's a lot, because simple things can stress us out, but when they keep piling and piling and piling, it overwhelms us, and that's where the anxiety kicks in, that feeling that we are being overwhelmed and we cannot confront what we are being presented with. So focus on one thing at a time. If you're having high levels of anxiety in the moment, breathe and ask yourself what you need. That was one of the first things that I learned, in techniques that really stuck with me, is to just step out of the moment, or step into the moment, but step out of the environment and get in touch with yourself. Take a breath. Ask yourself, what do I need right now? Maybe all I need to do is breathe. Maybe I need some water right now. Maybe I need to sit. Maybe I need to take a break. Maybe I need to get away from everyone and all this energy that is contributing to my anxiety. But it's okay to focus on one thing at a time and ask yourself what you need, because it's you, and you don't need to take care of everything for everyone else. You need to focus on yourself. Alright, tip number 2 for dealing with anxiety is mindfulness, meditation, and living in the moment. So like I said, anxiety can happen when we're thinking about all these things all at once. A lot of us have a checklist of everything we need to do, and we're thinking about the future and all the things that are happening in the future, and it's stressing us out. I am a big, I'm guilty of this. I'm someone who used to do this a lot, and still I can do this a lot, but I try to redirect myself and remind myself to be in the moment. And being in the moment is related to focusing on one thing at a time. It is getting in touch with the experience in the moment and shutting off the chatter of what Buddhists call your monkey mind, and just focusing on what is directly in front of you, what is your experience right now. And you just get in touch with yourself. And you just breathe, and you don't have to panic about what's going on in the future or what you're going to do or what you have to do. You just breathe. And yes, you can still get your accomplishments taken care of, but that's for later. This is the now. We want to live in the now. And if you practice mindfulness meditation, it's also a preventative measure, because the better you get at meditating, the better you are at controlling the focus of your mind. And so when you start to feel anxiety, meditation will strengthen your ability to redirect and refocus on the moment and your immediate experiences, so that you're not overwhelmed by outside experiences causing you anxiety or future experiences causing you anxiety, and you can just live and breathe in the moment. Step number 3 for dealing with anxiety. Are you all feeling relaxed? I'm feeling pretty relaxed. And if you're liking this video so far, go ahead and like the video, and please subscribe to our channel for more awesome mental health tips, as well as tips on how to live your best life and self-improve and be the best version of you. So thanks. Alright, back to tip number 3 is accepting it. Accept what is. Accept that you are having anxiety. So if we have anxiety and we're feeling a certain way and we're feeling stressed and we're like, oh no, it's the anxiety again, I feel this way, I'm not supposed to feel this way, you're stressing yourself out even more. You're amplifying the anxiety through resistance. So understand that you don't need to resist it, and you don't need to try and force yourself not to be anxious when you are anxious. That's not gonna work. You've probably tried it. If you're just like, don't be anxious, don't be anxious, don't be anxious, you're actually thinking about anxiety. So don't focus on the anxiety. Just accept it and allow it and say, yes, I'm having this experience. And if you're facing high levels of anxiety, allow those emotions to pass through you. Try and focus on one thing at a time, whether it's a friend you have around. If you don't have a friend around, focus on your body, focus on your breathing, and try and let the moment pass, and remember that it will pass. So you don't have to resist the anxiety. You know that it's there and you accept it, because you've been through this before and you've survived panic attacks before, you've survived anxiety before, right? So you just accept it and know that it will pass. But in the moment, you recognize, I have anxiety, it doesn't feel good, that's okay. It's not always gonna feel this way. That's one big help for any time you're not feeling good, is recognizing that I'm not always gonna feel this way. Yes, I don't feel good right now, but I allow it and accept it. It's part of life. It's not always going to be feeling sunshine and rainbows, and it will move on. And once you accept it, you won't give it more energy with your resistance, because when you resist it, again, you give it more energy. Accept it and it will flow through you, nice and easy. I don't know if you all can tell, but I'm feeling really relaxed in this video. I just did some meditation beforehand, so feeling pretty good. Alright, real quick, we're going to do a bonus tip, because I said we're going to do 5, but surprise, there's a bonus one in between. Get out into nature. So a lot of people really underestimate the power of going out into nature. This is something that they are now doing research on in Japan, and they have a really great name for it. It's called nature baths. But when you go out into nature, it balances your hormone levels, it balances your stress levels, and it helps relieve a lot of anxiety. So if you've got a lot going on in your life, just 10 minutes or half an hour, I'd prefer even longer, but just 10 minutes out in nature, go for a walk, preferably not by where cars are driving by, that can be more stressful, but just go out there and you'll find that it can relieve some stress. And this isn't the only method, but it is a good bonus and one of my favorites. Like, I always feel better after going out into nature. It just feels great. You're like, hello trees. You're feeling pretty relaxed, aren't you? That inspires me to be relaxed. And what I love to say is the gift of going out into nature is getting back yourself. So try it out. It can work for you. if you just allow it. Alright, back to the normal serial order of the 5 tips. Tip number 4 is realizing that you are good enough, you don't have to do anything for anyone, and there's nothing you need to accomplish in this moment. A lot of times we have anxiety because we think we need to be a certain way, be a certain person, achieve a certain thing. And yes, we do have goals, we have jobs, we have homework, we have research we're supposed to do, we have chores we're supposed to do. We have all these supposed to do things. But realize that if you don't do these things, it's not going to kill you. Anxiety was once adaptive at a time where maybe we had to fight to survive. But now we live in this modern world, and even if you turn in your assignment late, even if you don't, get your job taken care of on time, it's not the end of the world. Maybe it's not ideal, but it's not going to kill you. And recognize that you don't have to be anything for anyone. A lot of times we get so worried because we're worried about what other people are thinking of us. And that puts a lot of stress on us, thinking we have to be this person for other people. And that takes a lot of energy, and it stresses us out and depletes our capacity to deal with stress. So recognize that, hey, if other people think I'm lazy or I'm just a hippie hanging out with some trees, that's cool. No sweat on my back. I'm just gonna be me. I don't have to be anything for anyone. And a lot of times we get anxiety from comparing ourselves to other people. And we think, oh, I have to be this way and this good, otherwise no one will love me, and then I'll be alone and I'll never have my desires achieved, and then I'll become homeless, and then the world will end. Just stop that method and cycle of catastrophizing in your mind and realize in every moment you are good enough, and you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You're good enough, and you love yourself, and you accept yourself 100%. So you don't need to be anything for anyone, and you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Alright, tip number 5. So this one is a multiplayer option, co-op mode. So if you do have a person in your life, a lovely support person, that's awesome already. But here's one way that they can help you. So like I said, I work in a mental hospital, and this is a method that I've done for a lot of people at the hospital and in my personal relationships when people I know have gone into panic attacks. I actually really enjoy helping people through these because it's like, that's a panic attack, I can see it, and I know what to do. And maybe it doesn't work for everyone, but this has been the best method that has helped me to help others work through their anxiety. So remember, a panic attack is really overwhelming, and you're dealing with a lot of stress, and you're breathing really fast, and you have this feeling of overwhelming dread, like you are not safe. So it has to be a person that you trust and you know is safe, and you have to be very sensitive to them because remember, they're dealing with a lot of anxiety in this moment. But if it is safe and you're receptive to their energy and you can connect with their space. Go with them and get into their energetic zone. And that helps them know that they are not alone in this. So just you extending your energy and your grounding to them will be a lot of help, because when you're anxious, you're all the way up here. You're not grounded at all. So having someone else there to be that grounding for you and be that anchor can help a lot. So you get into their space, you tap into their energy, their energetic field, if you will, as we all are energetic bodies and we have energetic fields. And you go to them and you let them know you're safe. So that's the first thing you say, you're safe. And I know you might be dealing with a lot. Not you might. I know you're dealing with a lot right now. But if you can, I'm just gonna breathe in and breathe out. And I'm gonna ask you to try and breathe as slowly as possible, okay? Just breathe and release. Breathe in and release. And be encouraging, you can say, there you go, you're doing it, you're getting better, your breath is slowing, you're safe, you're okay. And this has really worked a lot of times for a lot of people with me, and it can provide a lot of anchoring and a lot of comfort to people. And what you don't want to do is say, hey, don't worry. Because it's just like telling someone not to worry is like, oh, that's great, don't worry, I wish I would have thought of that. Let me just not worry. It's not gonna work. Let them know they are safe, and you can guide them through that breathing exercise. Really, you just want to start breathing as slowly as possible, because breath is powerful. It's prana, it is the life force, and slowing your breathing slows your heart rate, and your heart rate is connected to the way that your brain is activating. When your heart rate slows, your thoughts can slow down, and you can get into a more relaxed brainwave state. So if you have a partner that you can talk to about this, maybe share this video with them if you'd like, or if you want to be that person for someone else, that's a really great way to do it. And that's what's worked for me in my work at a mental hospital, as well as in my personal relationships in my life, and hopefully it'll work for you. So thank you everyone for tuning into this video. I hope you're able to confront your anxiety with a little more fortitude, knowing that you can handle it, because you totally can, because you're awesome, you are safe, you are loved. Much love to all my allies out there. Go ahead and like this video if you like this video, and subscribe if that's what you want to do. And I'll be seeing you all on the next one. Bye.